Today we're going to be talking about brushwork, and in particular we're talking about using wet into wet brushwork and dry brushwork. So we'll talk about what the differences are and when to use them. Well, today we are talking about brushwork, how to apply paint to the canvas. And I want to talk about two types of brushwork: wet into wet, which is when you have wet paint on your brush and you're painting into wet paint on the canvas. And then I want to talk about dry brush, which is when you have wet paint on your brush and it's applied to dry paint on the canvas. So let's start with wet into wet. This painting, Creek Scene, was painted wet into wet. It was all done in one sitting. So that means all the application of paint was done when everything was wet. There was no wet paint that I applied on dry paint. And what you get with that is more blended paint. You get subtle value changes. So for instance, at the top of the creek right here, you have a lot of subtle value changes. There's a little bit of a light violet, a little bit darker violet, a little darker yet. And it's real subtle, real soft color and value changes. Got some red in here, some violet, some blue, and they're all real close together in color, and that's best applied wet into wet. I don't want to do that necessarily with dry brush. I could, and I have, but typically, when I want a lot of color change in one big area like this, I want to use wet into wet. Now, dry brush, a little different. I'm painting using wet paint on the brush and applying it to dry paint on the canvas. So let's go to a painting that has more dry brush to it. Now, the background, first of all, was wet into wet. This kind of light shrubbery or bare trees, this is in the winter, in the background was first painted wet into wet because I got ochre and violet and some other subtle color changes. Then I painted the tree, this, I think it's a sycamore, the sycamore tree kind of up front. I painted that wet into dry paint. So I let this dry in the background first, and I painted this on top. That way the tree stands out more. The edges are sharper because I'm using wet paint on dry paint, so there's no blending. So edges are sharper, and I want that because I have bigger value changes. The shadow side of the tree is a lot darker than the sunlit background trees. So I want that contrast, and that works out better with dry brush. Painting this tree on top of dry paint, the tree will just stand out more. Now, if I want that tree to sink back and kind of slowly almost disappear into the background, I'll paint it wet into wet. I'll have softer edges, I'll have more subtle value and color changes. But when I want something to really jump out and come forward, I will use dry brush. Same thing with these dark green trees here. I painted the background wet into wet and then did the sycamore tree and these dark evergreens. Then I painted them on top of dry paint. Now I did come back and blend some edges here. I had to wet the paint in the background because I just wanted some soft edges there, a little bit soft edge there. But the rest you can see are kind of hard. And where I do get a hard edge with dry brush, you can see that here is when I'm taking the sky color now, and I'm just dry brushing it into the dry, dark tree, and it skips along. It creates kind of that edge. Same thing on this tree branch here. This is dry brush. It's wet paint painted on top of the dry background paint, and I'm just having that skip along. You can see that on a lot of the branches, and it just makes it soften. It makes it kind of sink back just a little bit, but still stay forward. I want this to really come forward. Now I could paint this whole thing wet into wet and still make the sycamore and the dark green trees come forward, but I like the look of the dry brush, of the wet paint on the foreground trees with the dry paint of the background. Again, it creates that dry brush look where I want a little softer edge. And it gives me a definite hard edge where I want edges harder. So you can see the foreground here, the rocks and the creek, dry creek bed, that's pretty much wet into wet, so that I can get those subtle value changes on the rocks. Now the dappled light I have in a few places here is dry brush, because I want it to really stand out. A little bit of a soft edge, by the way, I drag the brush, but that gives it a little bit of a soft edge, but it still stands out against the darker dry paint of the rocks. So it's a combination of wet into wet and wet on dry there. Here's another one that has both in it. I painted the background trees, the background aspens, wet into wet. You got kind of a bluish green behind the aspens in the background. Then you have the muted yellow, and all that's wet into wet, so it's real close value. I don't have a lot of real strong value contrast in these background aspens because it's wet into wet. It's hard to make something really stand out when you're painting wet into wet. But the foliage up front, the darker foliage of the trees that are a bit more in the foreground, I started them out dry on wet, so dry brush, then painted wet into wet into them so I can get some subtle changes. But whatever I want to really stand out, like the horse stands out against the background, I'm not going to paint that dark horse into a wet painting in the background, into wet paint. I'm going to let that paint dry, or I'll wipe out that area and get the horse nice and dark. Same thing with the boy's head here. That really has to be dark so he comes forward. And if I paint that wet into the background wet paint, it's going to sink in. I'll never get it dark enough. In this case, I painted the background wet into wet, wiped out while it was still wet where the shape of the head was going to be. Then I put the dark in there. Some dry brush. The blanket was painted with dry brush, again, because I want that to stand out. There's a lot of dry brush down here with the different color grasses that stand out. The leaves here, the orange leaves that are in the foreground trunks, they really stand out because they're painted with dry brush, wet paint on dry background paint. Things that I want to stand out on the horse, like the reins, that's dry brush. I let the horse dry, then I painted the reins on there because I want them to stand out. I don't want them to sink into the horse. Now the subtle value changes on the horse here, like on the hindquarters, here on the shoulder of the horse, that's wet into wet because I want it modeled. I want to blend the value slightly. So that's all wet into wet. I try and paint the background in one sitting, let that dry. Then the foreground foliage and tree trunks, let that dry. Then the horse and figure, I'll get them kind of blocked in, let everything dry. Then I'll come back and finish them all with a little bit of dry brush because I want the final brush strokes to really stand out. You can see the shadow on the sheep here. That's all wet into wet. It's got some subtle value changes. You can see an eye and a little value change on the nose and so forth. And I have to do that wet into wet. Could do it when it was dry, but it's a lot easier wet into wet. Here's another one where I finished this off. I did most of it wet into wet. Then when it dried, I came back to this large tree trunk kind of in the middle and added some darker darks with dry brush so that it, again, stands out, comes forward. Same thing with the real dark darks in the hollyhocks here. They were applied with dry brush, wet paint on dry paint, so that the shadows really stand out. Flowers also, they're painted on dry paint so they don't blend away into the background. And most of the paintings are a combination of wet into wet and dry brush. This is mostly wet into wet. I did this outside and then came back a few days later, just in the studio, and added some dry brush. These dark accents, I wanted them to stand out a bit more, so they're applied with dry brush. And the tree trunks into the foliage, a lot of that is dry brush as well. And some of the sky holes in the clouds, they're not going to show up if I paint them wet into wet. They're just going to sink into the thick white, warm white paint. So I have to let the cloud dry and then come in and hit that sky hole. Now I can always scrape. I can scrape out a shape on the clouds when it's wet and then apply the blue in there nice and clean. You can certainly do that as well. The light on this cliff right here and the lights on the cliffs in the background, they're all applied when it's wet. Now I did take some of the shadow and cut into the sunlit areas to thin them down in places, negative painting. And that was wet into wet. So a lot of variation, and you kind of have to play around with it. There's never just, well, I shouldn't say that. There's sometimes you're painting, everything is wet into wet. This one is. This is a painting of a friend of mine, Chris Morrell, painter from Taos, really good painter. You should look up his work. Very, very good painter, Morel. He was playing guitar and posing for some artists. So did a quick painting of him. Again, everything's wet into wet here. Started out real thin. You can see how thin. I kind of painted him in burnt sienna and blue at first and a little bit of white just to get the shapes right. And then while everything was still wet, I added the cleaner colors of the blue shirt, the flesh tones on the face. Very limited because the time is limited, so everything is really simplified. But in order for these lights to stay clean, because I'm painting it wet into wet, I have to really build up the paint really thick. So these last lights, like on the guitar, on the hand, the arm, the shirt, and the face, especially the face, a little bit on the jeans there, that's the thickest paint. And I have to just hit it once and leave it alone, because if I go over it again, it's going to sink into the wet paint underneath it and it won't stand out. So if you're going to paint all wet into wet, you have to build up the lights as you go along so that they stay clean and they separate from the shadows. If I paint all the values in this painting real thin, it won't work. The values will be too close together. Nothing will stand out because it's all wet into wet. But if I load up the lights, and I usually load them up after I paint them in thinly first so I can see exactly where they're going to fit, where they go. Then I can just load up the brush, sometimes a palette knife, and just lay it in very thick. That makes the plane on his forehead and cheekbone and on the ear just really stand out because it's thicker. And I can push and pull with the wet brush strokes, the wet into wet, to get some soft edges, or just put it down real definitely if I want something real hard, like on the plane on the forehead or on the ear. It's just put in really definitely. Here's a larger painting where I blocked the whole sky in wet into wet, especially in the, well, both in the shadow and the light area, because I wanted those subtle value changes. It's got some lights on these sunlit clouds and halftone and some shadow. And I wanted all three of the values wet into wet at first so that I can soften the edges a lot easier. Then when it dried, I came back with this light here and hit it again right next to the shadow so I could get a sharper edge. So that's dry brush. Same thing with the lights up here. I hit those again because when you're painting wet into wet, sometimes you can't get that paint to stand out as much as you want, or the color to look as clean as you want. So you have to hit it again when it's dry and make it stand out. Same thing with the sunlit behind these trees on the ground. I had to come back and hit those again thicker. All this is a lot of thick paint that's dry brush because I wanted that to really stand out against the real dark trees and the dark foreground. Most of the subtle changes in the shadow are wet into wet because, again, it's real close value. Same thing in here. This is wet into wet. The values in the background hill where the trees, darker trees, stand out a little bit. They don't stand out a lot, but they do stand out some. And I can put those in on top of the lighter value, and it kind of sinks in, and that keeps it back in the background, doesn't come forward too much. I have a bit of a step-by-step here. This was a 18 by 24, I think, painting in Colorado. And I want to always separate the big dark and light shapes. So I got the big shadow shapes here, got some shadow shapes on the background mountains, shadow shape in the foreground, shadow shape over here on the left. And I hit those first, again, pretty thin. You can see how thin it is. It isn't necessarily a wash like watercolor. I mean, it is real thin, but it's not runny, I guess is what I'm trying to say. It's just kind of scrubbed in. Sometimes I put it in like watercolor and, it's really runny with the paint thinner, but I keep it very thin, both in the lights and the darks, just so I can see how the value relationships are going to work. Because once I get this stage to work, if this works, if I get the right value relationships, the right proportions, and the colors are very simple, really haven't thought much about the color yet, just cooler in the shadows and warmer in the light areas. But if I can make the painting work at the end of this stage, then the rest of it's easier or simple. Never easy, but it should be more simple to paint. And then as I go forward from here, I'm building up the lights, not so much in the shadows, got some buildup of paint, but I'm painting now a piece at a time, wet into wet. So I got the background mountains, I'm going to paint wet into wet. This light area on the left side with the aspens and the pine trees, that's wet into wet. And again, if I get too much wet into wet and my values get lost because it's just too mushy, too much wet paint into wet paint, just scrape it and separate your values again and keep painting. But I want some subtle value changes in here on these yellow-green trees, and then some subtle value changes in the aspens. But I want to keep them separate. Same thing with the trees up front. You can see I have shadow orange tree, shadow yellow-green tree, and a little bit of color variation in each one. And that's wet into wet. I can get that subtle change, and that works really well. Then, when everything dries here, I can come back and hit some of the lights again and build them up. And that's what I did at the end. A little glary here, but I really built up. You can see the thickness of the lights. Really put them on very, very thick. And that makes them really separate from the thinner darks. These pine trees here are a little bit thinner shadows in here. This is all wet into wet in the shadow because I wanted those values to be real close. Even though there's contrast in the shadow, there's not as much contrast as there is between the lighter and the darker shapes. So a lot of dry brush in here, like the yellow, the slightly lighter grass in the shadow, I put it on dry so it stands out a bit more, but I can pull the brush stroke so that it creates a little bit softer edge against the darker grass. Same thing on the edges of the light trees against a dark background. A little bit of dry brush there so that the light really stands out. And again, I can pull the brush a little bit and get a sense of softness on that edge. Or I can keep it real hard like I did here. And that really makes this tree come forward from the yellow background. So the dry brush and the wet into wet go a long way to show you the edges, the soft and hard edges, or the variation of hard and soft edges that give the painting more depth. Well, I hope that gives you an understanding of wet into wet and dry brush and what's important about them. And it's a good idea to use both. Generally, one painting will have more wet into wet and just a little bit of, or some dry brush, or the other way around, a lot of dry brush and just a little bit of wet into wet. But I think a good painting has both because it gives a variety of brush work. So go ahead and like it down below and subscribe if you would, and we'll see you next time.